Hi everybody, thanks for watching today. I want to talk about Kyudo, Japanese archery. I've been doing this here in Kyoto for 25 years or so, and I posted a couple videos of my shooting, and surprisingly one of them got more than 100,000 views, so I didn't think there was that kind of interest. But it appears that there is some, and there have been a few questions that have come up like, why does it take 10 minutes to shoot 2 arrows? And is it really true you don't have to hit the target with Kyudo? So I'm going to discuss those kinds of things in the first section, what is Kyudo? Then I'm going to move on to talking about why people do it. And then at the end, for people who are Kyudo practitioners, I'll talk a bit about what I'm working with lately to improve my Kyudo, give people some tips. I'm not authorized to teach Kyudo. I have what's called Go-Dan, 5th Dan, so that is a rank below the first teaching Dan, which or qualification I should say, which is called Renshi. But I'm going to share my experiences and my ideas about Kyudo here. I've been here 25 years, as I said. When I first got here, I wanted to do something, so I could learn about Japanese culture and interact with the people when I first got here. It wouldn't make much sense to come here to study salsa dancing, right? Actually, I am now studying salsa dancing. For 5 to 6 years, I'm crazy about salsa dancing. But when I first got here, I wanted to do something, one of the Japanese traditional arts. And I have a wrestling background as a high school student, junior high school student, so I wanted to do judo. That always interested me. But without the proper training to learn to fall, and it's called ukemi, I didn't really have that organized, and I wanted to do the sparring, and boom, ended up by hurting my shoulder, so kind of that finished my judo. So I moved on, I did a bit of Aiki Jiu-Jitsu. And that, I don't know, just didn't really intrigue me. And one day I found myself over at the Budo Center, which is the martial arts center here. And I came upon what was probably a Kyudo ranking test. It was, 10 people shooting and 30 or, 20, 30 people on each side. And everybody completely silent, just watching people shoot Kyudo, and it impressed me. It was cool. It was intriguing. I wanted to do that, and I had done some archery as a kid. So I found a friend's friend who was doing Kyudo who introduced me, and I started practicing. I think that's good for an introduction. I want to go on to what is Kyudo. Simply put, Kyudo is a traditional form of archery developed in Japan where the form takes precedence over accuracy. In other words, how you do it. It's a martial art, right? How you do it is the most important thing by far. And so what this means is when you enter the shooting area to shoot, and when you walk and you sit down and you prepare your kimono for shooting, you prepare your arrow for shooting, you stand up, you shoot, you sit down again, prepare another arrow. Every step there's a prescribed way to do it. The angle of your bow, where on your hip your arrows are, what angle are your arrows at, how far from the ground is the bow, when you stand up, where's the bow. When you walk, you don't plod along, you walk very smoothly. Every second really, you should be doing something in the correct way. And there's a correct way for everything you're doing. The way you breathe, it needs to be synchronized with your movements. Your gaze is not jumping all around. It's down. You're calming yourself all the time as much as possible and getting ready for shooting. And that's when you're out by yourself practicing. But actually in a Dan ranking or even in tournaments, you, especially in the Dan ranking, you're with 5 people. And so you're going out and you're sitting down together with 5 people, and everything is also in unison. You have to be with the 5 people you're working with. And each person has a role, and when the person in front of you stands up, you're still sitting. And when they touch their hip, well, that's your cue to stand. And everything is like order. There's an order for everything. So not only is all the movements you make are prescribed, and there's a set form for that. There's also how you interact with the group. So each shot, and the actual shooting is very difficult, and each shot, it feels like it's a battle of sorts, because the bow is strong. It's you versus the bow, because you have to pull that. You're not just pulling it back here like archery, you're just going like this, right? You're pulling it up here, you're going across the top, then you're drawing here, and you're drawing with your full body, and it takes a lot of effort and strength, and then you don't just let it go immediately, right? You need to aim, and you need to firm everything up and have a nice crisp release. So we don't just want to do correct Kyudo or Kyudo with the correct form. We want to do a beautiful shot, and that beautiful shot needs to be powerful and precise. The timing needs to be good. It has to be a kind of a little poo explosion, right? And of course that arrow is going to go straight, right? I mean, that's the idea. The target's 28 meters away. It's always 28 meters away. It doesn't move anywhere, and you don't move anywhere. So thousands of times you have basically made the same shot over and over again, but each shot's going to be different because of what you bring to it, your condition on that day, etc. So each shot's different. So accuracy varies. With testing, when we do a test, accuracy, of course, is you're supposed to hit the target. It's assumed you'll hit the target. If you shoot a beautiful shot, why would it not hit the target, right? Okay, so maybe it misses by a little bit, and your other shot hits the target. Well, maybe then you can pass that Dan ranking, particularly at a lower level. But generally speaking, what teachers are watching, there's a panel of 5 teachers watching you shoot when you take a test, and they're looking that you're doing the form correctly, and you've got this beautiful power and precise shot, and it goes direct, it goes straight. Yeah, Kyudo is difficult. Everybody says that. People who've done it 15, 20, 30 years will many times they're feeling pretty lucky if you can hit the target more than 50% of the time. That's all right shooting. The idea of how you form your left hand here with the bow, that they say that takes 15 years to really get that down. So yeah, it's a bit of an effort. Anything else I can say about Kyudo, what it is? Well, it's a traditional Japanese martial art. Obviously, it's like all archery, it comes from first hunting and then warfare, but then it took on these other influences, particularly a kind of ceremonial court life influence from China at a certain point. And then moving along, there are, influences from Taoism and Confucianism, and of course Japanese Zen has been an influence. As has social factors, education. Some martial arts are sort of viewed in Japan as a way to work on the character of the young, and high schools will have a Kyudo club, and so there's those purposes there. It's one of the kind of purposes with Kyudo, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. Anything else about what Kyudo is? Maybe that's good. Why do people do it? So I'm going to organize this for myself: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. I just kind of think of in these 4 areas. Physically speaking, Kyudo is, you'll get stronger. You're going to get your upper body stronger. You're going to get your core stronger. That's all necessary for shooting. But people don't do Kyudo for make themselves stronger. But you can do that with weights a lot better. On the emotional level, there's various ways that Kyudo can be a benefit or a motivator. The basic feeling of competency you get from doing something that's difficult is kind of some reason it becomes a hobby, and you want to get better, and once you do get better, you feel certain competency. That's motivating. There's also this sense of belongingness you're going to get to your group, because people don't just do Kyudo by themselves. Although you do shoot by yourself, you are, at least in Kyoto, you're in a kai, a group. I've been in 3 kais in 25 years. Sometimes you change for whatever reason, but and the kais practice together or not. They may meet together once or twice a week. There may be different groups within a kai that meet. So there's some social interaction within the group, and there may even be a party at the end of the year or something like that. And Japanese groups tend to be somewhat hierarchical compared to maybe groups in other countries, so there's definitely the sense that you've got a hierarchy in your group, and your teacher's taking care of you, and you're appreciative, and people who are beginners in your group, you will help them. So this is kind of extended family thing that's happening, something like an extended family where you are belonging to the group, you're taking care of people, people are taking care of you. So people benefit from that, and I think it's a plus with Kyudo. It's one reason people will do Kyudo, is to have that group experience. Also, in terms of emotions, it's kind of like training for your own emotions, because doing Kyudo, I think I didn't mention it, but a lot of your efforts are meant to calm yourself down and get yourself kind of strong and stable, so that you're not bothered by the desire to hit that target, or the desire for the dawn when you're ranking, or the fear, or you got 30, 40, 50 people watching you and you get nervous, so you have to calm that down. That's part of the Kyudo, is calming that down and using your breath to calm yourself down, so that your shot's going to be, basically strong, clear, straight. So there is that kind of training and controlling your emotions. That's another kind of aspect of Kyudo. Mentally, as I was mentioning, you have so much to be thinking about. There's so many details that you have to pay attention to with Kyudo. So you have to be aware, basically every second, what am I doing now? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing right? You're always checking yourself. And if there's absolutely nothing to do, because maybe somebody's shooting, you got a few seconds or whatever, then you are calming yourself. You're getting your breath, using your breath and calming yourself down and kind of getting yourself strong, setting your resolve to have a good shot, So it takes a lot of concentration. So of course that's like, mindfulness, right? You're mindful of everything that's happening when you're doing Kyudo. And so that kind of lends itself to the next area, the spiritual, benefits of Kyudo. I think for foreigners especially, we have heard of or perhaps read the book Zen and the Art of Archery. I think that's the title. Fellow's name is Hegel. He was a German philosopher, kind of grad student or researcher who came over here. He spent a couple of years studying Kyudo with a fellow, a teacher that was fairly well out of the mainstream. When I say the mainstream, I mean we've got Japan Kyudo Renmei Association, which is a standardizing body. It used to be there are all these different kind of sects and all these ideas about how to do Kyudo, and it became standardized earlier in the 1900s, early 1900s, mid 1900s. So we've got that kind of standard approach, and then this fellow that Herigel studied with had a much more kind of spiritual, a little bit of a mystical approach to archery, and so Herigel wrote his book about that. And but I don't really see, when I look around and I see what's going on with Kyudo in Japan, I'm not really seeing any kind of mystical thing at all. I'm seeing something almost the opposite, which is like groundedness in this world, mindfulness, rather than anything particularly mystical. I notice after I do Kyudo, I feel kind of grounded when I'm walking home. I mean, it dissipates quickly, but anyway, on the way home, I'm feeling kind of grounded, kind of peaceful. Different than you might feel after jogging, for instance. It's a different sensation. Culture also, just another thing that I see as a motivator for Japanese is, and for us too. I mean, I wanted to tune in to learn about Japanese culture, and Japanese themselves want to learn about their own culture. A lot of them have a desire to do a traditional Japanese art of some sort. I mean, they're also living in this modern world, busy, and everything's, they are particularly busy with work, so it's kind of refuge from that. Go to a dojo, a lot of, there's all sorts of rules, there's a social structure, there's a path towards, climbing through the dons to teacher, and so it offers that. Also, Japanese get to wear, we all do, but I'm saying Japanese get to wear kimono, which is not a normal thing in daily life. So, the country that gave us cosplay, or maybe some, some kind of attraction to wearing traditional Japanese garments, having a reason to, right? Anything else? Benefits. Anyway, that's what I want to say about benefits or motivations. I'll just conclude that by saying that, of course, people are different. Some people may be more oriented towards this particular benefit, and of course, everybody's going to have some kind of mixture in terms of why they're doing Kyudo. Anyway, finally, I want to give a few tips to people who are doing Kyudo. Well, tips, I don't know. These are things to try. These are things I'm working on. So I'll start with, there's this basic idea that we want to keep our shoulders down when we do Kyudo. And I've just noticed that, and I've ended up with shoulder problems because there's a lot of stress that goes into the shoulders. So if you really keep them down and you keep them back when you're raising the bow, especially because you're raising the bow, your shoulders are going to go up, or they're going to want to, let's say. But you can keep them down, and once you're at the top here, you can adjust them. We practice in front of a mirror at a straw target, usually before we go out and shoot at a target. So while you're watching yourself in the mirror at the straw target, which is a few meters away, I often see that my right shoulder's kind of popped up more, so I have to bring it down. So you keep it down, you go across, as you're doing your draw, you're keeping it down. And the idea being that you want to, once you get it to here, you want the structure of your body to be holding the power of the bow, not all your muscles. Beginning, Kyudo people are going to using all, going to go like this, right? It's actually want to use as little of the muscles as possible. You want to use only the muscles that are absolutely necessary. Everything else should be relaxed, so it's not in the way at all. And the structure of your body holds it. And so particularly once you're going to want your back muscles and these lower arm muscles to be doing a lot of the work, and you really want that left hand to be pointing towards the target. You don't want to forget, because it's kind of easy, it's easy to release, you're going to have a release and it's going to go like that. But you got to remember, you know, you do have to point that arrow towards the target. At the end, you know, it's not going to go straight. That's the left hand. The next point, and kind of related to this, of this idea of getting down, is also your lower body. You want to get your lower body very firmly planted on the ground. And we can do that in a couple ways. One is with the breath. So again, when we're in this position here and we're starting to draw, it's going to be, you know, perhaps be a 5-second draw, and at the time you're going to inhale, right? And this, what I've learned is that you try to go down and inhale into your lower abdomen. There, 2 inches or so, 3 fingers below the belly button. That's what's called tanden. It's a kind of, it's a spot that is important in all sorts of Japanese martial arts. The tanden, your center of movement. So you want to be able to pull your energy down into there, and you can use your breath to do that. But what I found is that, and this may not be in any way, teachers may disagree with this, what I've been doing lately, what I've been experimenting with lately is when I'm doing the draw, I'm getting to about right here, letting a little air out. And then I'm taking more air in, and it's all going down in the low. So I'm letting this upper lung air out. I'm taking another little breath down there low and really holding it tight. The other thing you can do down there, not to be too explicit here, I'll say it kind of vaguely, that anything you can clench, men and women alike, anything you can clench below your belt, clench it, make it strong, make it tight. That's going to give you strength there too. It's like it's just for your core, basically. Holding everything real tight, connected to the ground, and then you're shooting. Yeah, those are a couple of thoughts. Things that I'm working with. It occurs to me I haven't talked about Kyudo tournaments yet. We have several Kyudo tournaments in a year, probably more than there are testing opportunities. And in a Kyudo tournament, the only thing that's important is how many times you hit the target. That being said, if you are shot, you know, boom or something, you know, you shoot like that, you're going to be embarrassed. You know, you may hit the target, you may win a prize, but if your shooting is you know, completely out of form or strange, you're not going to feel particularly good about it. You know, you'll feel embarrassed. Yeah, Kyudo tournaments, there are probably, you know, sometimes 100 or 150 people, 200 people competing, and you know, there'll be prizes for the first 3 or the first 5 or something. So it also offers you a chance. It's a kind of a test of your ability to stay cool under pressure, because of course you want to hit that target and you want to, you know, be successful in the tournament. So you know, you can get nervous, you can really want to win that prize, and so it's kind of a test of your ability to stay cool, stay calm, shoot well. Okay, so that pretty much covers why people might be interested in doing Kyudo. You know, people with a competitive urge, for instance, that might benefit from participating in Kyudo tournaments. I want to move down quickly into a few books you might be interested in. If you want to learn more about Kyudo, armed martial arts in Japan, swordsmanship and archery. You can learn a lot about the history of Kyudo and its influences from you know, Chinese ceremonial archery through Shinto, Zen, etc. Kyudo, the essence and practice of Japanese archery. Great book. Not sure to what extent it's still available new, but I've used it quite a bit. It's got a lot of nice drawings and explanations of just about anything that you need to know. Finally, this is the Kyudo manual, translated. It's called Kyudo Kyohon, translated into English. Here, put out by All Nippon Kyudo Federation. I think that's the Kyudo Renmei. Principles of Shooting Volume 1. There are 3 volumes for Japanese. There is a small orange volume, which is Volume 1 for Japanese. And this is a translated version into English with some, instruction on how to do everything that you would need to get started. It's Volume 1. Anyway, that's been good. Thank you for watching so far. I've talked about what Kyudo is, some reasons people might want to do it. If you are interested yourself, I live in Kyoto. There's a public Kyudo dojo, and you're welcome to come and watch Kyudo anytime you'd like. And if you have your own equipment, you can come and practice on certain times in the week. Feel free to contact me or contact the what's called the Kyoto Budo Center. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Good luck with everything.